Yes, Prabhuji, I would like to say a few words.
Okay, so it's recording. Yes, it's recording. Yes, Prabhuji, go ahead.
Prabhuji, first of all, I would really appreciate your all that effort. You keep us, your association and your guidance, and with the association of the rest of the devotees, I would say that keep me, probably all the other devotees in the mode of goodness, Prabhuji. I really appreciate your effort, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Prabhu. Thank you for your kind words. Really appreciate the encouragement. Thank you. Anybody with any questions or any other comments? Okay, if not, then we'll get started with chapter 8. It's about offenses, and we're going to talk about two types of offenses. One is offenses against the deity worship, and the other is offenses against the holy name. And what we'll do is, because of the nature of the topic and the way it's been laid out in the chapter, we'll read one person at a time, 10 offenses, and we'll move on to the next. So 1 to 10, then 11 to 20, and so on and so forth. And I may interrupt you as you're reading if I need to explain something. And by all means, don't wait for me to ask questions. If you think you need some clarification, just interrupt and ask. I think that way we'll get much more from this session. Okay, so who would like to start today with the?
I can start, Prabhuji.
Go ahead, please.
Should I start, Prabhuji?
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Somebody else. I don't know. I hear somebody else too, Prabhuji.
Well, one of you.
So I'm going to start, Prabhuji. Is that okay?
Sure, go ahead, yes.
In the supplementary Vedic literature, there is the following list of 32 offenses in the matter of serving the Lord. Number 1, one should not enter the temple of the deity in a car or palanquin or with the shoes on the feet. Number 2, one should not fail to observe the various festivals for the prayer of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, such as Janmashtami and Rath Yatra. Number 3, one should not avoid going down before the deity. Number 4, one should not enter the temple to worship the Lord without having washed one's hand and feet after eating. Number 5, one should not enter the temple in the contaminated stage. According to the Vedic literature, if someone dies in the family, the whole family becomes contaminated for some time according to its status. For example, if the family is Brahmana, their contamination period is 12 days. For the Kshatriya and Vaishnava, it is 15 days. For the Shudra, 30 days. Number 6, one should not bow down on one hand. Number 7, one should not.
I just wanted to make a comment on that one. A lot of times we see people in the temple, they're holding their chanting beads. So therefore they keep that hand up and they offer obeisance with just one hand. So here it's saying that that's an offense. So make sure that both hands touch the floor. And if you really have the beads in the hand and raise it up, the beads that is, with your fingers, but make sure that both hands touch the floors. I've seen so many of people do just on one hand, and it's an offense. Okay, Prabhu, sorry, go ahead, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, I have a question.
Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
So it said that if somebody dies, contamination, right, in the family, and it took us 15 days, do we really we need to follow that, or we follow few days and visit? Because that is the time we like to see the Lord, right? Maybe funeral day, and other than that, can we visit?
No, Prabhu, you cannot visit. And if you have at home, you cannot do service. If you have a sister or a daughter, they can do it, but you can't. And But chanting is allowed. So you can chant on your japa beats. So 16 rounds, you can do 32 rounds, but you cannot do hoga, you cannot do arti, you cannot take darshan. They have to go to sleep unless there's a girl in the family. And then hoga has to be bought by her money, not your money, and things like that. So it's pretty strict that way. Now, having said all that, there are some exceptions in that. For example, if you're serving in the temple, there's nobody available, then maybe there's an exception, but that's very rare. So this is to be followed quite strictly.
So coming back to the daughter, is it we are suppose the daughter is not married, then she's a part of the family, right?
No, daughter is still okay. Even if not married, she's still okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's still okay. Right?
She's still okay. Yes.
So follow
Brother,
that 2
sister.
weeks or 15 days. Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, whatever is 12 or 15 days, that period we have to follow.
Correct. I know it's very hard on the devotees, but it's very clearly written here. So needs to be followed. But chanting on the beach is still allowed. So that's the main thing. Yeah.
So second thing, Prabhuji, it's a cleanliness, external cleanliness mentioned hand and feet, but also mouth should be clean, right?
Yes. So it doesn't say that, but absolutely, mouth should be clean.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Same thing with the clothes. They should be clean. It comes up later on. We'll talk about that.
So Prabhu, I have a question then
Bolo?
about the washing of the feet and hands. I mean, I've seen that in India, but here we don't have that facility.
Correct. So here is an exception because it's the adjustment to the time, place, and circumstance. Here you have the facility and it's too cold in the winter time. Washing is not practical. I mean, you can still go downstairs in the basement and do it. Some people do that. But for most people, it's not practical. So it's not insisted upon. But at the same time, it is an offense.
But then here, if you're going, let's say if somebody is going down, then they're entering the washroom, right? Because obviously,
entering the washroom is okay as long as you're not going to the altar.
Okay.
Right? Entering the washroom and going to the temple room, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
One question. In the previous one, that contamination, is the family which is referred here immediate family or is it extended also?
No, Prabhu, it's immediate family. So we're talking about a brother passing away, father passing away, uncle passing away, that kind of thing.
Okay.
So if cousin passes away, doesn't apply.
Okay. Right.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna. Kaise? Go ahead.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Sujata Mataji, go ahead, please.
Can we read books, Prabhu, when we contaminated somebody, when somebody dies in our family?
So that's an interesting one. Safer thing to do is to read the book electronically. That's okay. Because remember,
But if anybody dies, Prabhu, so many people read Bhagavad Gita chapter 2 or all Bhagavad Gita, right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's a tricky one. Some people follow, some people don't follow it. But the safest is to read it, but read electronic version. Because remember, the books are same as Krishna.
Yes.
Right? So I always advise people that, read the electronic version and it's safe. Now you can go to somebody senior closer to you, and if they say, no, it's okay, then it's okay. Okay. Anybody
Okay,
else?
Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Sure, Hare Krishna. Anybody else? Okay, go ahead, Kadwanga Prabhu.
Okay, number 7. One should not circumambulate in front of Shri Krishna. The process of circumambulating the temple is that one should begin circumambulating from the deity's right hand side of the temple and come round. Such circumambulation should be performed outside the temple structure at least 3 times daily.
Right.
Number 8.
Yes.
One should not.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Just want to explain something, number 7. So this is why when we do Tulsi Aarti in the temple, We do it only when the temple deity doors are closed. Because even though Tulsi Maharani is a pure devotee, we don't circumambulate her if the deity doors are open. Okay, otherwise that becomes an offense. Same thing for any other personality. We don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, I see some people, they cannot circumambulate this. They themselves in the same place.
Yeah, that's offensive. That's offensive. That's
Okay.
wrong, not prescribed, and that's offensive. People make up their own things. Like if you're going spinning yourself, who are you circumambulating? It makes no sense. So so that's not allowed either.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure, Prabhu. Katwanga Prabhu, go ahead, please.
Number 8, one should not spread his legs before the deity.
Yeah,
Number
you've
9.
probably seen that a lot in the temple, especially the new people. They come and spread their legs right facing the deities, not even otherwise. But it's not okay either way. But certainly, facing the deities with your feet there, not good. Okay.
Yeah, Prabhuji, it relate to that people stand in front of deities and take photos also.
Well, actually, stand in front of them, take picture, no problem. But don't put your back towards them and then have somebody else there.
That's what happens, right? They back to deities and they take photos.
Understand, deities are Krishna himself, and that's the most important personality. When you put them in the background, you are in the front ground. What are you saying? This is just a museum. This is just a showpiece. I'm more important than the deity. Therefore, take my picture. Background is the background. Krishna is never in the background. You can't put Krishna in the background. And I try to stop so many people from doing that, but I don't know why people don't understand. Okay, if you have taken a picture, stand on the side. It's not great, but better than putting your back towards Krishna. Just understand, Krishna is not a museum piece. It's not a memoir that you will take home and say, look, I was there, and look at my picture. It's not right.
But many people do like that.
That's what I'm saying. It's an offense.
Especially in front of the visitors, they do that.
I know.
Which is not good.
Not good at all. It's an offense. This is what
I also feel very bad about this.
Yeah. So if I see it, I stop them. I'm sorry, you can't do that. Don't do it.
That is not good.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, somebody had a question?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Sonam.
Prabhuji, you said you've seen many people spreading their legs in front of the deities, and आपने उनको रोका भी है. I just want to know, how do we approach them? Because I hold myself back, right? Because they would feel, if it's a new person, he may feel that, oh, so many rules and restrictions and may not come again, right? So how do we tell them that it's an offense?
Very humbly, very politely, and as few words as possible, and as low a voice as possible. So you don't want to sound like you're yelling at them. You certainly shouldn't have a frown on your face. You shouldn't look angry. Fold your hands and, if you don't mind, Prabhuji or Mataji, please may I tell you one of the rules. It's not good to spread your legs in front of the deities. So if you don't mind, please, my apologies. I hope you're not upset, but I just thought it's good for you. Something along those lines. Depends upon.
And should we use the word offense? Because sometimes offense is a very strong word, right? People may think that we're trying to scare them or
if
something.
they start asking why, then you can tell them.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sure, you're welcome. Anybody else? That goes for just about anything. Anytime you want to correct, you have to be very careful, because people will get offended. But if you fold your hand, bow down your head, and it's a really humble way, and low voice, not loud voice, no frown on your face, and you look like you're really begging them to please hear you, then usually they're not upset. Most of them. Some will get upset, but then what can you do? You still need to tell them. But don't argue. If they start arguing, walk away. It's not worth it. You done your job. Yeah. Never argue. It's never worth it with a new person. But then they'll do more offenses.
Yeah.
They'll start blaspheming. Then you're hearing the blaspheming, then you're doing offenses because you're hearing the blaspheming. On and on. It just gets worse.
That's coming next.
Oh, is it okay? Yeah. Okay. Okay, Prabhuji, Khatwanga Prabhu. Hari bol, Khatwanga Prabhu.
9, one should not sit before the deity holding the ankles, elbow, or knees with one's hand.
Yeah, does everyone understand that? I have seen that also, not as much, but I've seen people sit there, especially some Matajis, younger Matajis. They sit there holding their ankles or elbows or knees with one hand, with their hands. Whatever the reason is, but it's not good.
Number 10,
Yeah.
Prabhuji,
Yes, Prabhu.
one should not lie down.
Prabhu, for whatever reason, it didn't come out full sentence, but I know what you were reading. Okay, so I just want to make comment on that. Again, not a lot, but I've seen sometimes people lie down in front of the deity, and I've seen people lie down on the sofa. That's in the Toronto temple room when the deity doors are open, and that's not good. It doesn't matter how tired you are, you should not be lying down in front of the deities.
Fridge cooler. Only fridge
Huh?
cooler.
Haribo? Oh, please mute yourself, everyone. Hold on, maybe I can do it. Help people. Okay, all right. Okay, who would like to read from 11 to 20?
May I read, Prabhuji?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mataji, please.
Oh, it's okay. It's okay. You go.
Thank you, Mataji. Number 11. One should not accept prasad before the deity.
Yeah, so this is why, again, in the Toronto temple, I'm going to speak about that. We close the deity doors when we serve the prasadam, or we wait until the deity doors are closed before we start serving the prasadam. Because, again, that's another offense. Okay, number 12.
Number 12. One should never speak a lie before the deity.
Yeah, has anybody done that? So we have to be very careful about what we speak in front of the deities. Actually, we'll talk about 12 and 13 together. So go ahead.
Number 13. One should not talk very loudly before the deity.
Okay, let's do 14 also. Sorry, before I.
Number 14. One should not talk with others before the deity.
Yeah. You know what? Keep going. Then I think they're all related. So
Okay.
keep going. Yeah.
Okay. One should not cry or howl before the deity. One should not quarrel or fight before the deity. One should not chastise anyone before the deity. One should be charitable to beggars. One should not be charitable to beggars before the deity. One should not speak very harshly to others before the deity. One should not wear a fur blanket before the deity.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
So 11 to 19 are, very closely related to each other. And they basically have to do with how we behave in front of the deity. So we should always remember that the deities are not a statue. They're not a showpiece. They're not a museum piece. They're live. They're non-different from Krishna. Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead. Krishna is the Lord of the Lords, King of the Kings, the highest position we can imagine. We have been given out of his inconceivable mercy the opportunity to stand in front of him, and we cannot misbehave in front of him. So talking loud, lying, eating in front of him, fighting with somebody or chastising somebody or crying, just not good. Just not good. It's very inappropriate behavior. And clearly, they're all an offense. So we must be very careful, especially the one about talking to other people in front of the deities. I don't know how many of you have noticed, but a lot of people talk to each other. And I know a lot of times people come to me, start talking, and I say, I'm sorry, They said, no, Prabhu, just 30 seconds. No, unless somebody's dying, you're dying in the next 30 seconds, it can wait until after the Aarti. And I'm very rude about that. If you're rude enough to disturb me during the Aarti, then I can be rude enough to you to tell you, you cannot disturb me. And that's one area where I show very little consideration. It doesn't matter who it is. You can speak to me after Aarti. So it's very, very important that we internalize all these points, especially this 11 to 19, which are related to each other, have to do with how we behave in front of the deity. Any questions or comments?
Yeah.
Prabhuji,
Go ahead, Sonam.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Thank you, Vinod Prabhuji. Prabhuji, I have a question about crying. So is it crying in any sense? Because I understand crying in the mood of Sahajya, right? That's wrong, right? But sometimes I'll give you the personal example that when I was going to Edmonton and I was just crying in front of Sridhar Gopinath for the very reason that I don't know when will I be able to see you next time, right? But I understand that there also we had deities, we had temple, but still sometimes you feel like, you're leaving them. So is that also an offense?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked, because if you hadn't asked, then I would have told you anyway. It's not talking about that crying. That crying is good.
Okay.
Crying to Krishna that I'm going to miss you or I'm missing you, is good. Crying to Krishna saying, you didn't give me this clothes, you didn't give me my promotion, you didn't give me that and that, or I had a fight with this and I'm crying in front of you because I want you to fix him or her or whatever. That kind of crying is not good.
Oh, okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
Prabhuji.
crying for Krishna is good. Okay, Radhamna Prabhu. Sorry, Sonam, did I answer your question?
Yes,
So now-
Prabhuji, completely.
Okay.
So on that same note, Prabhuji, what happened a few years back, I remember same in the evening, the Toronto temple, one girl, she came new, she was alone here and she was married and her mother died back home.
Oh.
And she learned and she was crying in front of deity. Unfortunately, I could not stop her because that was the invasion and she came to me, went to the deities and my feeling was that it relieves her, maybe I was wrong, 10 years back. It relieves her a little bit of feeling because she's alone there. I offered what else you need, right? So we offer, so I said that, okay, because lost the mother at that moment. And, she learned and she was in the temple, like she came for praying and got the news that she passed and she was crying. And I saw some others also happening. So what we can do in that case?
So Prabhu, sometimes it's better not to do anything, but that doesn't change the definition. So it is still an offense to cry in front of the Lord because my mother passed away. It's still an offense. However, I think as you rightly felt that it's a sensitive time, it's probably not a good idea to tell her that she should not do that. What you could do is start talking to her a little bit and say, is it okay for me to speak to you? And she says, yes, then you take her aside. That way, you're not doing the offense and you're keeping her from doing the offense. Generally speaking, yeah.
So we did, she was at the basement and she came down, we did, but eventually emotion, she wanted to express in front of the Lord. And I saw that she was not angry, she was feeling alone and missing her mother, that compassion.
Yeah, so once again, because you don't know the internal feelings, it becomes a very sensitive situation. So, I mean, it's between Krishna and her. If she was crying to Krishna because she was saying, I love you, Krishna, and, take care of me, that's one kind of crying, which is okay. One is saying that, Krishna, why did you take away my mother, and I'm missing my mother, this and that. That's different kind of crying.
Right, yes.
Right? So, because we don't know, we have to be very careful. Generally speaking, if you invite somebody to speak to you, they will accept, but if they don't accept, then walk away again. I mean, the bottom line is we should never make it a prestige issue. I offered you to help and you said, no, now I'm angry with you. It should never be like that. You did your part by trying to take her away. from doing the office, she doesn't want to take it, then you leave it to Krishna. Then it's between Krishna and her.
Prabhuji, again, the 19th point, one should not be charitable to beggars before the deity.
Yes. Yes. So what's the question?
So the question, are we talking about inside? Because in India, you see, go to the temple and outside there are beggars, right? In most of the temples.
But we're not saying before the temple. We're saying before the deity.
In the front of deities.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So outside the temple is fine. I mean, Vrindavan is full of these beggars.
Yeah.
Who are doing, but they're doing it outside the temple, not in the temple room.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. The only time it's okay to collect is if you get initiated and you're collecting on, for your Guru Maharaj, that's okay. But that's the only time.
Then, Prabhuji, question comes, we got a donation box right in front of us.
Donation is not begging, bro. You're getting donation on behalf of Krishna. That's perfectly all right.
Okay.
Right? That's not begging. Begging is for yourself.
Oh, I see. Okay. So begging for you. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Right? And yeah, so as long as you're not doing that, you're okay.
कृष्णा के लिए आप मांग सकते हैं ना?
कृष्णा के लिए कुछ भी कर सकते हैं.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Somebody wants to go from 21?
Prabhuji, before that, how about the fur blanket? Is it because it represents a kind of luxury, or is
No,
it because
fur-
the fur
fur actually-
is not sattvic?
Well, fur is basically you killed an animal for it. So I
So
put
it's not
it in,
sattvic. That's
I put it in the same category as leather belt,
Okay.
leather bag. We shouldn't be going to the temple room with those things.
Okay.
Mahajan Prabhu knows all about it because he always tell me about one individual who comes in the leather belt and all that. So anyway, yeah, so some people do that and we shouldn't.
Can I read?
Okay, Prabhuji.
Of course, Prabhu, go ahead.
Okay. 21. One should not.
So sorry, Prabhu. So Nima Mataji, as soon as Bhadrakrishna Prabhu stops, you can go next, okay?
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Okay, go ahead, Bhadrakrishna Prabhu.
One should not eulogize or praise anyone else before the deity.
Yeah, so that's again a very important one. A lot of times I see, and maybe I have done it once in a while also, we start to praise somebody right in front of the deity, standing at the altar, and we start telling a person how great a singer he is, or how great a speaker he is, or what a great cook they are, this and that. That's an offense too. The only person who should be praised in front of Krishna is Krishna himself. And when I say Krishna, I mean Radha Krishna, Gaunitai, Jagannath, Subhadra. They're all Krishna. So that's fine, but not other people. Okay, go ahead, Prabhu.
22. One should not speak any ill names before the deity.
Yeah.
23. One should not pass air before the deity.
Yeah, again, it's gross, it's offensive. Yeah, even other people, not just Krishna. Okay, 24.
24. One should not fail to worship the deity according to one's means. In Bhagavad Gita, it is stated that the Lord is satisfied if some devotee offers him even a leaf or a little water. This formula prescribed by the Lord is universally applicable, even for the poorest man. But that does not mean that one who has sufficient means to worship the Lord very nicely should also adopt this method and try to satisfy the Lord simply by offering water and a leaf. If he has sufficient means, he should offer nice decorations, nice flowers, and nice foodstuffs, and observe all ceremonies. It is not that one should try to satisfy the Supreme Lord with a little water and a leaf, and for himself spend all his money in sense gratification.
Right. So this is another very important one where, yes, Krishna says, Pattam Pushpam Phalam Toyam. He does say that. But he's talking about, when you have nothing else available, he will even accept that as long as given with love and devotion. He's not saying that under any situation, only give me that. As a matter of fact, he prefers Chappan Bhog. Lord Jagannath is served bhoga 56 times every day. Every day. And typically there will be, I don't know if it's exactly 108 preparations or not, but lots of preparations that are made, they're offered. So we all know about Krishna as as a Govardhan Hill, when he can eat all you can supply. You know, there's a story about Lord Chaitanya when he was staying in Jagannath Puri, and every year, just before Rath Yatra, all these devotees from Navadvip will come, and they'll all bring prasadam for him to eat. So one time, the hundreds of these devotees, they brought, I don't know, pounds after pounds after pounds of bhoga and gave to Govindas, and he stored them in a room. And next morning, he went to Lord Chaitanya and said, we have a problem. And Lord Chaitanya said, what's the problem? He said, all these devotees brought prasadam for you, and now they're asking if you honored it. And if I tell them you did, then I'd be lying. And if I tell them they don't, so they say, how come you didn't eat my rasgulla? How come you didn't eat my gulab jamun? You didn't eat my sandesh, this and that? They all keep asking me, so what do I do? So Krishna said, let me see. Lord Chaitanya said, let me see. So he opened the door, and the room was full, a large room full of, like right from floor to the ceiling of prasadam. So Krishna sat down and he ate the whole thing. The whole thing. So the point is that the Lord has inconceivable, unlimited capacity to accept prasadam. So it should not be that, oh, I can afford a really, really nice bhoga, but Krishna said, I'll go to offer a leaf and a glass of water. We shouldn't do that. We should do it according to our means. We can do an elaborate one. We can invite lots of people every day. We should do that. Okay. All right. Any questions or comments on that? Number 24.
Prabhuji, we should try to do more than our capacity.
Well, we should. I mean, that's obviously right, but it may not be practical. So at least do what's to your capacity. Similarly, your capacity may be also how much can you cook because you get tired and all that. But at least, do as much as possible. And that's the whole point, that it should be from the heart. It should be the best endeavor. But remember, bhakti is endeavor. Bhakti is nothing but endeavor. And so the endeavor has to be there. Okay, go ahead, Prabhu.
25. One should not eat anything that is not offered first to Krishna.
Yeah, I think we all understand that one. Yakshishtasana santa muchante sarukilvishay munjite tegham papam ye pachanti atma karanat. Krishna says very clearly, you eat without offering me, you eat nothing but sin. So we all understand. As a matter of fact, they say that to make really good progress on our devotional service, we have to make sure we never eat anything that's not already been offered to Krishna, which means no more restaurants, no more eating at non-devotee's house, nothing that's not been offered. Okay, number 26.
26. One should not fail to offer fresh fruit and grains to Krishna according to the season.
Yeah, so this is another very important one. Always we should have a fruit dish in Krishna's dish and grains also. So even Ekadashi, we offer grains to Krishna. But Krishna does not keep Ekadashi. Radharani does not keep Ekadashi. Lord Jagannath does not keep Ekadashi. Lord Chaitanya does, but because he's acting like a devotee. So even on Ekadashi, we should offer Ekadashi food along with some roti, dal, chawal, or whatever. Okay. Great. Number 27.
27. After food has been cooked, no one should be offered any foodstuff unless it is first offered to the deity.
Yeah, so this is another one. Sometimes people have told me that because the husband is getting late for the office, what they do is they say, okay, we haven't offered it yet, but you can't wait. So here, I'll take you aside. I'll take some, I'll fill the plates for Krishna first, and then I'll give you. And then when you leave, then I'll go and offer. No, that's not right. It cannot be offered to anybody until it's first offered to Krishna. So your husband is getting late, he has two choices. Go without food or get late and get the food. So again, I've seen people do it with their kids. Oh, you're crying, here baby, you take it, I'll offer to Krishna later. No, can't do that. Okay.
28. One should not sit with his back towards the deity.
Right. So same thing we were talking earlier. You can't have your back towards the deity, either standing up, sitting down, or whatever. You have to be very, very careful about that. And that's why in the temple, when people have to turn around, when they're facing the deity, they close the doors first, and then you can turn around. Okay, go ahead.
Somebody else wants to
Krishna
continue?
Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mother, go ahead.
Prabhu, is it okay first we offer food and then do puja?
I'm not sure I understand. That is what we do, don't we? We offer bhog first, and then we do arti.
Oh, okay.
That is the correct sequence anyway. Right? Did I miss your question?
I thought, Prabhu, first we should do harati and then offer food.
No, the other way. The correct process is to first you offer bhog, and then you do arti.
So somebody else wants to continue reading?
I'll ask. So, okay. Any other questions? Okay. Nima Mataji, did you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sure. It's 28.
28, yes.
Okay, 28. One should not sit with his back towards the deity.
Right.
29. One should not offer obeisances silently to the spiritual master, or in other words, one should recite loud the prayers to the spiritual master while offering obeisances.
Yeah, so that's another one. If you have a spiritual master, like you're initiated, then you offer obeisances. The pranami mantra should be done loudly, not so loud that somebody across the street can hear you, but at least if somebody was sitting, 2 feet from you, they should be able to hear. And that's, again, a lot of us don't know that, so you have to remember always to do the pranami mantra loudly. Okay, go ahead.
Number 30. One should not fail to offer some praise in the presence of a spiritual master.
Yeah, okay, so
31.
let's hold on for 1 second. Let's go back to number 21 for a second.
21. One should not eulogize or praise anyone before the deity.
And then you did number 30.
Number 30 is 30. One should not fail to offer some praise in the presence of the spiritual master.
Sorry, did I do this right? Sure. Yeah, yes.
Number 31.
No, sorry, number 30. So do you see any contradiction between 21 and 30? What did 21 say?
Okay. Yeah, 21 says you should not do it, and here they said you can do it to
you should do
master.
It. Don't fail to do it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like contradiction. Anybody wants to explain to me if there's contradiction or not?
One should not fail to offer some praises in the presence of spirit. But this is involving spiritual master. That's why.
Okay, go ahead. Okay. But do you see the contradiction? That's what I'm asking.
Yes.
Okay.
So Prabhu, number 30 says one should not fail to offer praise in the presence of spiritual master, but doesn't say that in front of deity. So in front of deity, we should not. But if we are not in front of deity and spiritual master,
but he's talking about in front of the deity, right? Number 30 is saying.
Yeah, Guru ji की प्रशंसा कर सकते हैं हम.
कर सकते हैं. We can offer praises to Guru Maharaj because he's not different than
भूलना भी नहीं चाहिए.
External, his representative of Lord Krishna.
So, why is it that you can do it for a spiritual master and not for anybody else?
Because
He's a realized.
no, because
one person at a time. I can't hear. One person at a time. So please, one person go ahead.
So Prabhu, I feel because our Maharaj is like our Guru, like Bhagwan to us, because he is the one who is connecting us to Krishna. So for us, he is very pure, and he's like God to us.
Okay, all right. Okay, somebody else was.
Prabhuji, is it because when we praise a pure devotee in front of Krishna, it gives Krishna more pleasure than his own glorification?
True, yeah, true. Anybody else?
Because spiritual master is not anyone else. He is the representative of God.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So we can praise him.
Okay, all right. Anybody else?
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Prabhu, spiritual master is as good as God. Yeah.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So okay, so I think most of you are saying the same thing.
Prabhuji, are you waiting to listen the Bhudida Jana verse?
No, but you can chat it if you like.
No, I'm saying that could be the answer, right? Because the translation says.
But if it was just Bhudida Jana, then it could be anybody who's spreading Krishna consciousness. But this specific.
Yeah, but here it's spiritual master.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam.
When we were growing little, we heard one shloka, so that comes to my mind. I mean, in addition to what Sona Mataji and the other Mataji's mentioned, like Guru Govind Dao Khade Kake Lago Paye, Balihari Guru Aapne Govind Diya Milay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, Guru Maharaj is the one who has showed us the path that leads to Krishna. If he were not there, we would have been going into loops. So I think so that's why he's prominent, and then we should worship him. And
yeah. So that's basically all other answers are basically along the same lines and the correct answers. That because
Prabhuji, I want to make one more guess.
Bolo.
Is it because whatever we offer to Guru Maharaj, he never keeps it to himself and he passes on to Krishna?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's also correct. So essentially, as long as we are offering praise, considering our Guru to be the true servant of Krishna, and then in the spirit of, as somebody mentioned, that when we praise Krishna's servant, Krishna becomes more pleased. And that to us is as good as God. So therefore it's okay. But you could still do it in your mind. You don't have to express it. You could, but you don't have to. You could praise your spiritual master in front of the deity in your mind, and that's perfectly all right. And if it's brief, very brief, you can verbalize it. Because I know that your Guru will stop you when you do that. So whatever you want to say it quick, and that is okay. But again, with the same mood that he's the servant of Krishna, he's a representative of Krishna, he's as good as Krishna, he'll pass it on to Krishna. Krishna is more pleased when we praise him. As long as our mood is that, it's okay. And that's the point I just wanted to make, that, do it in the right frame of mind, do it in the right mood. Okay. All right. Nima Mataji, go ahead.
Okay, number 30. One should not fail to offer some praise in the presence of the spiritual master.
Right.
31. One should not praise himself before the spiritual master.
Yeah. So have you seen anybody do that?
There must be some people.
Oh, some people have seen many people. And I'm saying, what are you doing? Actually, one person I know who went even beyond that. He was preaching to Guru Maharaj.
Oh my God.
Preaching him philosophy. Believe it or not, I'm not joking. He was preaching him philosophy. And I'm saying, what are you trying to do? Just making path to hell easier. No, so absolute offense. Don't do that.
प्रभुपाद जी को भी तो ऐसे ही करते थे ना, प्रभुपाद जी को भी ऐसे समझाते थे जैसे उनको नहीं समझ होती, कई लोग जिनको नहीं मालूम था.
Okay, I haven't heard that, but yeah, if they were doing it, that's wrong. Okay,
okay. Number 32. One should not deride the demigods before the deity.
Yeah, so that's another one that we Vaishnavas should understand. And that is, like, in Bhagavad Gita, demigod worship is condemned. In ISKCON throughout, we discourage people from worshiping demigod, but that should not translate into we can insult them, especially in front of the deities, or we can start talking against them in front of the deities. So Krishna is not pleased when we do that. Okay, so now that's the first 32. Any questions in general about these offenses? So these are offenses against, what are they called? Offenses against? Collectively, what are they called?
Deity worship.
Deity worship, yes, exactly. Okay, so any questions on the first 32 that we have read so far?
Prabhuji,
Why is it offensive to touch your knees or ankles?
Bad manners.
Oh, okay.
Bad manners. There's proper etiquette to sit in front of the Lord or anybody who's respected, anybody in high position. There's a proper etiquette to sit. I think these are really, really bad manners. I mean, why sitting there holding your knees or your ankles or things like that? That's just not right.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just proper etiquette. Somebody else wanted to ask a question. I heard a female voice. I couldn't tell who it was.
Yeah.
Holding the arms in front of please.
Madhumataji, go ahead.
Yeah, Prabhuji, you said that on Ekadashi day, if we are fasting and we are offering the fasting food to the deities, so you said that we can offer the anna also, like the rice and that.
To Krishna, yes.
So like I don't understand. Then that prasad can we eat on the same day?
No, not on the same day. You eat the next
Next day.
Correct.
Next day.
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
Krishna
Okay,
doesn't
thank you,
observe
Prasad.
Ekadashi. Krishna does
Yeah,
not.
that's what
observe
I
Ekadashi.
was asking. Like, but should we do that prasad if we offer
No,
something?
next day.
Next day.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else?
Yes, Prabhuji, I have one question.
Prabhuji,
I saw a lot of people. Prabhuji, when the deities' rooms, deities' doors are open, embracing each other.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's also not good. That's also not good. Yeah, we have to. The point is, we have to be very careful about how we behave in front of the deities.
Yes, that is important.
Behave
properly.
Yeah, behave properly, and it's all about that.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Just a bit of clarification on point number 7.
7.
So so the circumambulation, I understand it should be done outside when the I think doors are closed.
Correct.
But what if, let's see, doors are still open, but then we go back and forth, like in front of the deities, not like circumambulating, but going back and forth.
Yeah, that's not circumambulating.
Yeah, but okay. So that's okay.
Yeah, if you're walking and going back and forth, it's okay. But it's just that some sense has to be there. Like if you go there with one side and come back, that's perfectly all right. If you do 10 times in 5 minutes, why are you doing that? So once again, the focus should be the deity and whatever is happening, like Aarti or whatever, that should be the focus. You're going back and forth 10 times in 5 minutes. What are you trying to do? And that's not good.
Right. So my question is not at the temple. Let's say at home, our deity room is there. And then if we are doing chanting and we pass on, so that is not acceptable then, right?
Sorry, say again, you're chanting and what?
So my question is at home, we have our deity room.
Right.
And outside, if we are chanting and we are walking, so that is not acceptable, just crossing the deity room multiple times. I just want to clarify that thing with you.
I just want to make sure I understand your question. So you're saying you enter the deity room, you come out. You enter
I'm outside the deity room. I'm outside the deity room.
Then I don't understand. Then what's the point?
In the corridor.
Okay, but you're in the corridor, you're not entering the room.
Not entering the room, yeah.
That's fine. Then there's no issue.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you're not in front of the deities and you're not in the deity room. So that's totally all right.
Yeah, but if the deity room is open and so that was my confusion. If the deity room
deities are not, like I know your house, so I can say that when the deity is open, deity is not seeing you when you're in the corridor. You're not in front of the deities.
Okay. Thank you.
Like because I know the layout of your house, so I can say in the corridor, you're not in front of the deities.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Prabhuji, may I ask a question?
Of course, please do.
Prabhu, just as how, being brought up in South India, we are told that we should not pay obeisances to the deities after the deity doors are closed, Prabhu. I don't know, that stigma stuck to my head. But in ISKCON, I'm always seeing people, after they close the deity doors, people pay obeisances. Am I doing something wrong, Prabhu? And of course, I follow ISKCON. So am I doing something wrong?
No. So first of all, you've been told correctly. And it doesn't matter where ISKCON, it should be followed. Some people just don't know. But there's a small difference. When is it? When the doors are closed, the assumption is either they are having bhoga or they're taking rest.
After Aarti, Prabhu, like, after the 8 o'clock Aarti.
For example, 1 minute after the Aarti, the doors are closed, it's okay because they haven't started yet. But if there's 10 minutes after, their dress is being changed, they get ready for bed. And it's like if you are there in your room and you're changing, getting ready for bed, and your child comes and starts tugging on the dhoti or sari, and mommy, I want this, mommy, I want that, you won't like that. It's the same thing. If Krishna is eating, or he's getting ready to bed, or he's in bed, then don't offer obeisance because then you're disturbing him. So that's the idea. So that applies anyway, ISKCON or otherwise. It's just that most people just don't know it. I said, do it,
that explains well.
But what you're doing is correct.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for this clarification.
Sure.
Is it that we should not circumambulate also when the deities are taking rest?
Well, yeah, basically there should be no activity in the temple room that would disturb their attention. Now, I know, and it really bothers me, sometimes people want to chant, and they chant after they've gone to bed, and they chant very loudly with microphone and loudspeaker and everything. And that's just not, I try to stop them. Actually, I've had many fights in Toronto Temple on that issue. And finally, I succeeded in convincing them no more chanting after 9 p.m. So 8:30, they get dressed. By 9 p.m., they're sleeping, and chanting has to stop. So I make it stop.
Prabhuji, on this point, when we do Saturday Aarti and we come out of the temple, the chanting is continuing there.
Yeah, so if you put them to sleep, then it's wrong. And I know some senior devotees do it.
Maharaj is there.
That's what I'm saying. Some senior devotees do that, and it's not right.
Can't say anything.
Well, I mean, when your GBC doesn't want to listen to you, then what can you do? But what's right is right.
But Prabhuji, if the chanting is like it's not too many instruments and not that loud, is that okay?
That's perfectly okay because you're making it soft. It's for the pleasure of God. That's perfectly okay. If you have to pay instruments, go to another room. Why do you have to do the temple room? We're not saying don't do it in the 10-kilometer radius. For example, in our temple, go to Govindas. You want to chant, go chant in Govindas. That's okay. But not
because in Vrindavan also during the night shift, they would just have a slow harmonium or just a very little kartal and they'll chant.
And that's the idea. It's almost like a lullaby. You're singing him to sleep. That's perfectly all right. As a matter of fact, that's good. I know some other temples, after the last Aarti, they light the candles, no instruments, and somebody will softly lead the kirtan. That's beautiful. But not 6 mridangas playing and 9 kartals and shouting at the top of your voice and a loudspeaker, that microphone, that connected loudspeaker, that's 100 decibels. That's just not right. So we should
Prabhu,
always,
on the same note, sorry, Prabhu, sorry.
Now, just saying that we should always remember who Krishna is. We're there to serve him, not to be served by being praised by other people. Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
No, Prabhu, I just wanted to add one more thing. It's just my upbringing, Prabhu. I'm sorry if I'm annoying anybody. But I see a lot of people with their hair let loose, right? That's something that's not acceptable for us to enter a temple with. I don't know the standards of ISKCON in terms of that, but what's your call on that, Prabhu? Like,
So, Mother, again,
they consider it fashion, style,
yeah.
They
So-
let their long hair loose and,
So the Vedic literature is you must always tie your hair and you must always cover your hair, cover your head. I'm talking about Matajis, right? That is the Vedic standard that applies everywhere. And we should follow it. But I know in the Western world, India has become Western world these days. People think, loose hair is nice and is attractive to the other side, and on and on and on. But there's no consideration of what's right, what's wrong, what Krishna wants, what Krishna likes. People have just forgotten all that. It doesn't make it not offensive. It's still offensive, whether they accept it or not. What's offensive is offensive.
And it is there in the Vaishnava etiquettes book, Prabhuji.
Yeah,
what Mataji is saying.
absolutely it is there. But like I say, if you want to ignore it, then what can you do? I mean, how many fights do you want to have? But what's right is what's right.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay. So Nima Mata, you can continue for 5 more.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Okay, so this is the list of 32 offenses. Besides this, there are a number of offenses which are mentioned in the Vara Purana. They are as follows. Number 1, one should not touch the deity in the dark room.
Yeah. So again, if we have a temple, we should turn the lights on before we enter the temple, or as soon as we enter the temple, that should be on. And similarly, if you have a temple in the house, in your house, and some days it gets very dark, even before the normal time, then you should go to the temple room, turn the light on. Okay, go ahead.
Number 2, one should not fail to strictly follow the rules and regulations in worshipping the deity.
Yeah, so
Number 3.
again, there are many rules and regulations, and we should follow it. Don't take shortcuts in deity worship. Remember, deity worship is a two-edged sword. Lots of benefit, but you can also get burnt, especially if you are worshiping Lord Krishna. And that is why we recommend you worship God Nitai if you're a neophyte. Only if you want to keep high standards, you worship Radha Krishna, and really high standards, then Shaligram Shila. But people just take it very lightly. They take it so casually, and we shouldn't do that. Okay, number 3, Mataji.
Okay, number 3, one should not enter the temple of the deity without first making some sound.
So, yeah, don't just open the door and go in. Knock on the door before you go in, maybe ring the bell softly, or at least say Hare Krishna a little loudly so they can hear you. Some kind of sound should be made before you enter the temple room.
Can do clapping also.
Clapping, yeah, that is fine. Yeah. Okay.
Number 4, one should not offer any foodstuff to the deity which has been seen by dog or any other lower animals.
Yeah, actually, personally, I add that even by other people, human beings, it should not be offered. So this is why when bhoga has to be taken, where the people present, we cover them with a piece of cloth, so nobody sees. And this is why we say devotees should not have animals in their house. It becomes very difficult to not let them see it before you're able to offer bhoga to the deities. Okay, number 5.
Number 5, one should not break silence while worshipping.
Right. So again, you can't be gossiping, you can't be having a conversation as you're doing arti. A lot of times people actually, as I'm doing arti in the temple, they come and start talking to me, and I'm saying, "Are you crazy?" So I have to put my finger on my mouth, say, "Not now." But people just don't understand. And then they go, Prabhuji. Here I am trying to do arti, Prabhuji. Shut up, go away. They have to understand that.
Right, yeah. That's right.
Yeah. Okay, Mataji, one more.
Number 6, one should not pass urine or evacuate while engaged in worshipping.
Well, actually, when I read that, I had to read it 3 times. Is it really saying what it is saying? Should not pass urine or evacuate while engaged in worshipping. So then I said, okay, no, it's not talking about practically doing arti, but if you're engaged in doing the whole thing, then you can't just run to the washroom, come back and start doing it. You have to take shower. Okay.
And then when you a new clothes too, right?
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You have to wear the clean clothes again.
Yeah, clean clothes. Once you go to the washroom, you become dirty. Clothes have become dirty. You cannot enter the altar.
And then somebody told me, like, okay, if you really have to do the both things, then take out your clothes, put it in a room, then go to the washroom, then do everything, then come back.
Yes, you can do that. But in a temple, that might be difficult. At home, you can do that. Absolutely. And to be honest with you, I have done that. Yeah. Okay. All right. So should we let somebody else now go from number 7?
Yes,
go ahead, Mataji, go ahead.
Okay. One should not offer, number 7. One should not offer incense without offering some flowers.
Yeah, again, a lot of people don't know that. If you're doing incense, you must have flowers to offer.
Okay. Number 8.
Yes.
Useless flowers without any fragrance should not be offered.
Now, so how many of us are able to get around that in Canada?
In Canada, most of the flowers are without
That's right.
this fragrance.
So, yeah, there's no fragrance at all. Like the Canadian flowers are useless.
Oh, they are so beautiful in India.
So what my wife does, she has perfume. So she puts perfume on every flower she offers, and then we offer.
Okay.
Prabhuji, same thing I do.
Good.
Same
good,
thing
good.
I do.
Good. Yeah. Okay.
Prabhu, what does it mean in the 7th point, Prabhu? One should not offer incense without offering some flower. So what does it mean?
It just as it says. If you're offering incense, you must offer flower also.
Okay.
So you hold the flower and the incense together?
No. In the offering, you must flower also. So don't just offer incense and chamar and bhajan, the fan. Don't do that.
Oh, like how we do arti, right? Prabhu, in the arti plate, everything is there like that,
We're talking
right?
about arti, yeah. We're talking about arti. And the reason is important. Some places, they don't do incense. They just do arti. And it's arti on lamp only, nothing, no water, no handkerchief, no incense, no flower. They just do arti in some temples. Not ISKCON, but other temples. So that's okay. But if you're offering incense, then you must offer flower also. Not at the same time, but in the sequence.
Prabhuji, the flowers, marigold and rose, they have the smell.
Okay. Yes. Some flowers do. Yes, sure.
Yeah. Because we grow those only.
Yeah, I mean, even some roses have flowers. I mean, so we're talking in general, there's no fragrance. But yeah, I mean, you can find some flowers. Okay. All right. Go ahead, Mataji.
Oh, number 9. One should not fail to wash his teeth very carefully every day.
Yeah, well, hopefully everybody does that already. But
number 10.
Okay.
Number 10. One should not enter the temple directly after sexual intercourse.
Well,
number 11.
That, yeah.
One should not touch a woman during her menstrual period. Number 12. One should not enter the temple after touching a dead body. Number 13. One should not enter the temple wearing garments of red or blue colors or garments which are unwashed. Number 14. One should not enter the temple after seeing a dead body. Number 15. One should not pass air within the temple.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Number 6.
No, thank you. So 15 is a repeat of what we already read. And so essentially, if you go to a funeral home or you see a dead body on the road as you're driving, you need to take shower again. Okay. All right. Would somebody else like to do that next one?
Prabhuji, one question.
I have a question here.
Okay.
On 14th, Prabhuji. One should not enter the temple after seeing a dead body. Now, dead body, when we say about the dead body? Is the dead human body or dead animals too there?
Yeah, I think
Because
here
lot of time, body is a body, Prabhuji. We see a lot of time when we going to the temple, we saw some animals being killed by car or squirrels or some other thing.
Funny.
So body is the body, Prabhuji.
yeah. So
That joke.
What joke?
So jokey, eh?
No.
Just joke.
so
Okay.
it's not being very clear here. I assume this is a human body they're talking about, but you're right. It's not making it clear.
Okay, Prabhu, I have a question too.
Go ahead.
Okay, where it says, okay, one should not enter the temple wearing garments of red or blue color or garments which are unwashed. They mean that red or blue unwashed garments, or don't wear red or blue?
Yeah, I was wondering about that myself. So the way I read it is red or blue or unwashed garments. That's how I read it. So red or blue, washed or not washed, on any garment which is not washed.
So that means like for devotional service especially, don't wear red, blue, and unwashed.
So once again, we're talking about when you're doing deity worship. So some of them are talking about even entering the temple room. So for example, you go to the temple, the whole place is a temple. And temple room is same as temple altar, in some sense. But at home, whole home is not the temple. So I just want to make sure that we are keeping that clear. But let's say we're talking about going to the temple. Actually, just say that do not enter the temple wearing garments. So they're saying garments of red or blue color or garments that are not washed. You should not go to the temple. In other words, for example, some people say, oh, I put it on today, and then tomorrow after I take shower, I put the same dhoti on. And they're saying, no, that's not good. So I don't know if that was a question. Nima Mataji, was that your question?
Yes, that's okay, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, sure.
Prabhuji, can I ask you to repeat?
Sonam. Somebody else was trying to ask a question before you. So.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So I just continued with the same question, Prabhu. What is the reason or logic behind the not wearing the blue or red?
Yeah, actually, I'll be honest with you. I wondered about that too. And the only thing I could come up with, and this is my speculation, so I want to make sure that you understand, I don't know the real answer. But the way I understood was that if it's too loud, red and blue can be very loud. And therefore, they draw attraction of everyone to you as opposed to the deity. And that's the reason. Now, I was afraid somebody will say, wait a minute, Prabhuji, this is not making any sense because blue is Krishna's color. So Radharani wears blue, Lord Nityananda wears blue. So why can't we wear blue? I thought somebody will ask that, and I don't know what the answer is. But the way I understood it was that the attention should be focused on the deities, not on you. And I don't know if that's the right answer or not. So I want to confess that up front. I don't know the real answer, but that was my interpretation of this point. So you're welcome to save this question for somebody else, somebody senior, and ask them. They might be able to give better explanation, but that's all I could think of.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mother. Okay, so I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, Krishna Smara Mataji, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Prabhuji, I wanted to ask you. I know that because we talk about tamasic colors and tamasic foods, and probably blue and red fall in that category, and that's why we are not supposed to wear them while doing the deity worship practically. But can we not even enter the temple room with blue and red color garments?
But that's what it is saying. So again, I don't want to change what it's saying. It's saying one should not enter the temple. Right? Now, they could mean temple as the altar, or they could mean temple as a temple room. So you could say that here, generally speaking, they're talking about the altar when they say temple. Not all the points, not all the points.
This one.
Many of the points. So it could be that they're saying, don't go to the altar, but if you come to the temple, as in the building, then it's okay. But once again, I'm speculating. I don't know the real answer.
Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Sure. Anybody else? Okay. All right. Then let's keep going, please.
Oh, should I continue, Prabhu?
Yeah, continue. Yeah.
Okay. Number 16. One should not be angry within the temple. 17.
So we talked about
One
that before
should-
also. And we have to be very,
Number,
sorry, Mati, just 1 second. And I have seen some people get very, very angry right in front of the deities with other people. And I've seen fights happen. And those are all very, very offensive things. Okay, go ahead.
number 17. One should not enter the temple after visiting a ceremonitorium.
Crematorium.
Crematorium.
Yeah.
Number 18. One should not belch before the deities. So until one has fully digested his food, he should not enter the temple.
Yeah. So again, very important. Very important that we observe this. It's the same line as passing the wind.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Number 19. Number 19. One should not smoke marijuana or ganja.
Yeah.
Number 20. One should not take opium or similar intoxicants. Number 21. One should not enter the deity room or touch the body of a deity after having smeared oil over his body.
Yeah. So again,
Number
important. Okay, go ahead.
smeared oil. Okay. Number 22. One should not show disrespect to a scripture teaching about the supremacy of the God. Number 23. One should not introduce any opposing scripture.
So basically, don't bring in Mayavadi scriptures.
Okay. Yeah. Yes. 24. One should not chew battle or battle. Not.
So basically, no pan khan.
Before the deity. Okay. Number 25. One should not offer a flower which was kept in an unclean pot.
Okay, thank
Number
you.
26.
Thank you. So basically, we have to be very careful about all the paraphernalia that we use in the service of Krishna. Even the pot where we keep the flowers, they should be washed every day. So don't put new flowers in an unclean pot in front of Krishna. So to be careful. Okay, somebody else wants to read next 26 on?
May I, Prabhuji?
Of course you can.
One should not worship the Lord while sitting on the bare floor. One must have a sitting place.
So hold on. So let's just talk about that for a second. When we do Aarti, for example, when we do Bhoga, for example, we must have a mat on which we stand or sit. Okay, not on the bare floor. If there's carpet, that's fine. Like some houses have carpets, that's fine. But otherwise, there must be a mat that you stand on or sit on. Okay, go ahead.
One must have a sitting place or carpet. 27. One should not touch the deity before one has completed taking part.
Yeah.
28. One should not decorate his forehead with a 3-line tilka.
So we must use the Vaishnava tilak, okay? The long U shape.
Yes. 29. One should not enter the temple without washing his hands and feet.
Okay, so that's a duplication. Okay, so those are other 29 offenses. So we got 32 plus 29. Okay. Now, somebody wants to read the next paragraph?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yogesh Prabhu, let him go first.
Yeah, sure, Prabhuji.
Yogesh Prabhu, you go ahead.
Yeah, Yogesh Prabhu, go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji. Other rules other rules are that one should not offer foodstuff which is cooked by non-Vaishnava.
Yeah, so
But
again, it's a major problem in our temple when not initiated people, people who don't chant, people who eat, onion, garlic, they're allowed to come and cook in the temple. That's a major issue. So we should not do that. Okay, go ahead.
one should not worship the deity before a non-devotee, and one should not engage himself in the worship of the Lord while seeing a non-devotee. One should not worship the deity without first worshipping the demigod Ganpati, who drives away all
No.
impediments.
Prabhu, read that line again.
One should not worship the deity without first worshipping the demigod Ganpati.
Okay.
Who drives away all impediments in the execution of devotional service. In the Brahm Samhita, it is stated that Ganpati worships the lotus feet of Lord Nrsimhadev, and in that way has become auspicious for the devotees in clearing out all impediments. Therefore, all devotees should worship Ganpati.
Okay, so let me stop for a second. Srila Prabhupada never really encouraged the worship of Ganpati. And actually, there's a story where a man came to Srila Prabhupada and asked if he could worship Lord Ganesh to eliminate all the obstacles. And Prabhupada said, yes, you can do that, but only after you give me $1 million every day. So then he knew that Srila Prabhupada was, joking with him. But the point is, it may not be wrong to start the worship of Ganpati, but it's not necessary at all. And as it mentions here, that Lord Ganesh is an expansion of Lord Nrsimhadev, and we're already worshiping Lord Nrsimhadev. That even Lord Nrsimhadev, we don't worship him first. We worship him last. To say basically, to please keep the obstacles away from us. So we have to be very careful about this particular point. We have to go by what Srila Prabhupada has taught us, which said, you don't have to do this. He didn't say it's wrong, but he said you don't have to do it. It's not necessary. Okay, go ahead.
So Prabhu,
The
Hare
deities
Krishna.
should not be
Sorry,
based in war.
somebody's asking a question.
Yeah, Prabhu Hare Krishna. So my question is, why this contradiction, Prabhu? We don't see this trend in ISKCON, worshipping Lord Ganesha before the main deity, Lord Krishna, Radha and Krishna. So, but in NOD, we are reading something else. So why this contradiction, Prabhu?
Yeah, so essentially, Nectar of Devotion is saying that Lord Ganesh is capable of removing the obstacles. And in support, they're saying Brahma Samhita, chapter 5, text 50, talks about who Lord Ganesh is and how he eliminates all the obstacles. And Prabhupada is saying, yes, it's correct. It's correct. But it's not necessary because it will cause confusion in the mind of a lot of people because we keep talking about not worshipping demigods, and Lord Ganesh is demigod. It causes all sorts of confusion. So because we are already worshipping the origin of Lord Ganesh, which is Lord Nrsimhadev, you don't have to worry about worshiping Lord Ganesh. So worship Lord Nrsimhadev, don't have to worry about it. He's not saying it's wrong. He's just saying it's not necessary. That's it.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure. Anybody else? Okay, Yogesh Prabhu, go ahead.
The deities should not be bathed in water that has been touched by the nails or fingers. When a devotee is perspiring, he should not engage himself in worshipping the deity. Similarly, there are many other prohibitions. For example, one should not cross or step over the flowers offered to the deities, nor should one take a vow in the name of God. These are all different kinds of offenses in the matter of executing devotional service, and one should be careful to avoid them. In the Padma Purana, it is stated that even a person whose life is completely sinful will be completely protected by the Lord if he simply surrenders unto him. So it is accepted that one who surrenders unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead becomes free from all sinful reactions. And even when a person becomes an offender unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, he can still be delivered simply by taking shelter of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In other words, the chanting of Hare Krishna is beneficial for eradicating all sins, but if one becomes an offender to the holy names of the Lord, then he has no chance of being delivered.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to stop reading from this point on. We'll do the rest of the chapter next week, especially because now it's going to talk about the offenses against the holy name. And it's a long discussion. So it's better that we do it next week. Any questions or comments on what we did today? What we read today? Any big surprises or anything that you find not practical? Anything?
Prabhu, I have one question, Prabhu.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Prabhu, I also heard, like, when we go to temple and the men, the Prabhus that are doing the deity worship, they're not supposed to wear clothes on the top. That's why they're wearing that just one side, whatever thing. Is that true too? Because they're not supposed to wear a shirt, right? So they just wear that. Okay.
No, so basically, this Mata Brahmins, they have philosophy that we should not have any garment above the waist. So just a dhoti and that's it. In ISKCON and other Vaishnava Sampradayas, they say no, upper body should also be covered, but it should be non-stitched clothing. So that, because shirt is stitched, we don't wear shirt. Similarly, dhoti and chadar, we don't use the one that's stitched on the side. So some people have the dhoti stitched on the side so it won't rip, but that's also not right. The exception is made for the Matajis because clearly a blouse has to be stitched. In the old days, Vedic days, when people were not so perverted, Matajis also did not wear blouse. They covered their upper half of the body with the sari. But with the perverted nature of human beings in the age of Kali Yuga, especially now, the concession has been made that no, they should also wear blouse so as to not agitate the minds of other people. So that's the difference, Mataji.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Anybody else? Somebody else was trying to ask a question.
Prabhuji,
Sonam, bolo.
Prabhuji, so no blue and red color garments at all, right?
That's what Rupa Goswami said. You can argue with him.
I was just hoping if there is some concession in that.
So, okay, so talking about the concession, Prabhupada did say that all these offenses are good to know. Some are not so serious. So you can take a chance. So if your heart is set on wearing blue only, you can do it. It's not that big an offense. It's an offense, but not that big an offense. So if you want to take a chance, you can do that. But if you have yellow colors or some other colors, then why not wear those?
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay, but like everybody I know has at least once or twice put on a blue, whatever, kurta or dhoti or sari or whatever, and come to the temple. So it's not one of the most serious ones, but it's still on the list.
Prabhuji? Why should we cover Prasad? Say, for example, if I'm going to the temple or anyone's house, if I get Prasad, I should cover the Prasad also. What's the reason for that?
You mean bhoga?
No, Prasad. I'm talking about.
Prasad doesn't have to be.
It doesn't have to.
Doesn't have to be. I mean, people just cover it because they don't want everybody to say, with the greedy eyes, they look at it. But bhoga has to be. Prasadam doesn't have to be. But it's just because they don't want people to put the evil eye on oh, look how opulent it is. But I actually have a personal experience. I was just about to take the offering plates inside the altar, and somebody came in, a devotee. He looked at it and says, "Oh my God, Radha Gopinath is so opulently." And I said, "Oh my God, that's why they put cloths."
Yep.
Any other questions or comments?
Prabhu, this is not regarding anything we read right now, but for deity worship, I just wanted to know how many times we have to do that incense, we have to do round on their feet and their navel and their head. And what is the procedure? From whom do we start? Like from our own guru, and then parampara to Krishna is the last one, right?
So Mataji,
We have to do the rounds.
Different temples follow slightly different rules. And I have had discussions with the Ministry of Deity Worship. They also give some degree of flexibility on this question. So for example, I can tell you in Toronto, in our temple, we first worship Guru, then the Parampara, then all the way to 6 Goswamis, Panchatattva, then Gaurang Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. Then we go to Radha and Krishna, and then we go to Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, because that's the order in which the altars have been set up, and we have 3 separate altars. So that's what we do. Now, some temples, they will first offer Aarti to Radha Krishna, then Jagannath, Baldev, Subhadra, then Gaur Nitai, and then the Guru. And I'm sure there are some other combinations also. So the way it was explained to me is that there's flexibility in the way we do it, but the point is made, whichever way you do it, everybody in that temple should do the same way. So you should not have 5 different ways of doing Aarti in one temple. But temple can be different from another temple. That's how it was explained to me. There are different theories. One says, no, do Guru first because asking for permission. One says, no, do Guru last because we have to do Krishna first. So again, that flexibility is there, and the ministry says it's okay.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Sure. Okay, any other questions or comments? Okay, if not, then I would like to thank you very much for your attention. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you.
Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mother. Thank
Krishna,
you very much.
Prabhuji.
Sure. Hare Krishna.